All right, now we get the people in the far back who have been very patient. Erin Milner, right? Erin, what was your character?
I played Trixie, basically a very small role, but I think very significant. She basically a teenager, probably a junior in high school, who had a baby and whose mom kicked her out. And I have a lot of friends who, basically my age and younger, who have children. I don't, thank God for that, but and I'm basically symbolic of like the new generation and how it happens over and over again, and it's not something that just stops with the the one woman who becomes homeless. And there's a child, and the child is prone to that too. I know a lot of people I know who have children who have children. A lot of their parents were 16, 17 also, so it keeps recurring.
It's the image we have, the stereotype of the homeless person is the bag lady, right? And the sort of crazy wild eyes and white hair wisping around and all. But the character you play is relatively young, right? How old is she?
She's about probably 16, I'd say. Basically middle class, could be anyone you go to high school with, anyone, kid you have, maybe a teenager. Just, it happen. Not to say it happens out of the blue, but it can happen to anyone. Teenagers get pregnant all the time now, and abortion is an option, but it's also a hard option. You grow attached. I wouldn't know about it that well, but it's hard to give a baby, I'm sure. And so, if your mom kicks you out, you have to deal with it. Now you have a child, big responsibility. So, yeah.
How did you become involved with this production?
Betty's sister, I'm friends with her daughter, and she called me and told me about auditions, and so I figured I'd audition. I'm home for the summer from college in California, and I love to act, I love theater, I love performing, so I auditioned and I got this role, and I'm very glad that I became a part of this. When I heard about it, I didn't really know the scope of the play, and I read it, and it's awesome. I love to be a part of this, making a social statement, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I really liked it.
Well, we're going to break for a message in just a minute, but before we do, I wanted to get to Toni Grahm, who is the last member of our panel to get a chance to talk. Toni, how did you become a part of this?
Well, Betty and I have a mutual friend, and we went to a benefit auction that was held for the play. And at that time, I was asked to come back and audition. And I thought, well, I've never done it before, but I've always really wanted to. And I read parts of the play, and I thought, oh, this is just a wonderful play. And I auditioned a part of a very, it's a very pitiful woman. She has been battered by her boyfriend, and she wants to stay in the shelter, but it's just an overnight shelter, and she has to leave. And she's very ill. It's very pitiful. And I thought to myself, well, I don't know about this. When I read the part, I knew it was very sad. And I thought I didn't know whether I wanted to do it or not, because I was afraid that it would affect my own life. And as I thought about it, I thought, well, maybe this will help me. Because in life, I myself personally suppress a lot of stuff. I have a lot of responsibilities myself, and it has worked just wonderfully. Just wonderfully. It's just a beautiful play. Beautiful play.
Have you done any theater before this?
No, not really. I worked at the University of Michigan on sets and things like that, but I've never actually acted, no.
Who was your character like? Do you know anything about her? Did you create a background and all that for her?
Well, pretty much so. She was middle class and battered, basically battered. One thing I did learn from the part, and I found it out in other areas too, that if you have some disfiguration or bruising, say as I had, that people do look at you quite differently. And I had a very funny experience, because during dress rehearsal I went over to the Torch to get a pop in makeup, and in my character I have a bruise over my eye here, and I have one here and here, and a big one on my arm. And I know one of the waitresses at the Torch, and she looked at me very funny when I went in, and I forgot pretty much what my appearance was like. And I walked up I said, "Hi, Jill." I said, "I want a pop to go, okay?" And she said, "Yeah." And so the girl behind the bar started to get me the pop, and she comes over and she lays her hand on me like this, and she goes, "What happened to you?" And I go, "Oh, it's just makeup." I said, "I'm in dress rehearsal today." But the other woman, there's another woman who isn't here tonight, Sue Conley, that plays the other battered woman. And part of her speech, part of her dialogue says that even at the hospital, that people just treat you different when you're battered. And you find that to be true. They're afraid to talk to you. They don't know what to say. And truthfully, aside from the outward appearance, you're basically the same person inside, but people perceive you quite differently.
It's nice, though, that when you went to the bar, you did receive sympathy. That's a good omen, maybe, for the future. Okay, we're going to go take another message, and we'll be back in just a minute.